Within Hexagon, we've got what's called pivot points. Pivot points can be very handy indeed. Now what the pivot point is it actually determines where the actual handle and manipulator handles are located on your object. Now we have a center point for every single object in our scene. So if I select this particular object, we can see we've got a center point for this, and we've also got a center point for this. Now that center point is what we could be calling also the pivot point. Now by right clicking on the screen anywhere, you can see this pop-up menu, and we can click on reset pivot point and set pivot point. Now the reset pivot point will bring it back to its original location, which is always in the center of the object. However, what we can do is we can actually change that pivot point. This is how we do it. We right click to bring up the screen, and then we select set pivot point. Now you'll notice that when you go near vertices, if you hold the shift key, that you've got this little tiny crosshair, a white crosshair. You just about could probably see it there. And what this does is enables you to snap to a vertice to set a brand new pivot point. As an example, with holding down the shift key, just click on this particular vertice, and now you'll notice that the tool handles are actually located in that position. And now we can pivot around this particular point. In addition to this, we can actually set the pivot point on another object, which is very handy for positioning things. So let's just do that right now. Right click, set pivot point. I'm going to set it on this object. So it's handy for things like if you're making a clock, for instance, and you want to actually make sure that the hand is pivoting at the right position so it can go around evenly around the clock. Bearing in mind that you can also use the shift key to lock to 45-degree axis points. So for instance, we got one there. We can copy this, duplicate this, Control and C, and then Control and V on the PC will actually duplicate that. We can set the pivot point to the center of this object. Okay, we're making sure that we've just got that one selected there. And we've now copied that object again, Control and C, then Control and V. Do it again, Control and C, Control and V. We're just simply copying and pasting. And there we go. So that's pivot points. Now, just one more thing to remember is that you can actually reset the pivot points whenever you want by right clicking and clicking on reset pivot point. And it will set that back to the actual object's pivot point. Bearing in mind that each object has its own pivot point, so you need to go through these.